Yeah, what's up,
Right?
I'm
Just
like,
getting high,
you need to hydrate.
get into it.
Get into it. That was like very good. Very
good.
smooth. Hey guys, welcome back. And if you're just joining us for the first time, because this is literally the second episode, welcome back. Do we have ASMR ASMR episode incoming for the sure? That's only whenever we decide to learn how to whisper, which is not
Very
anytime
hard.
soon. But let's get into it. So that was Gahua, that was High by Dalen. Nico's gonna post his social media on there. That was produced by a very good friend of mine named Roosh, and both of them have been working together for a couple. All right, just a couple. But we're really excited to have our first local artist featured. So Dalen, congratulations! Put that on a plaque, put that on some sort of sign, and hang it up in your wall. But a little bit about Dalen. He's been recording and taking music seriously for 2 years, but he's been doing music for 4. Like I said, that song specifically was produced by Roosh, and I did ask what his inspiration behind making music is, and he said that it is his pain, his life, and ultimately what he wants out of it is to make something better for himself and his family. So we stand a vulnerable man. We will be featuring a lot of other music from him because literally
Bars.
it's on fire. So
It's on fire.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Fire flame.
Any announcements for this episode?
Oh yes.
Oh, yes. Like you're talking about my brother.
So there
Relax.
is two.
I'm sorry.
There is two Libra king and queens that we want to give a huge, huge shout out to because it's their birthdays.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
So I wanted to say happy birthday to my brother Devin.
Acevedo.
He is
Full
in
government.
full government, literally in
Literally.
the government. Devin is in Alaska. He's in the army, so thank you for your service. I love you. I miss you. I hope you're safe, and I wish you a very happy birthday, brother.
Hug
giving
me,
air
brother.
bar.
Hug me, brother. And then finally, the Virgo queen.
Oh, that's embarrassing. She meant
Wow.
Libra.
The Libra queen. Karima's gonna come for me.
That's on you, bro. Save yourself.
Karima,
Ooh.
happy birthday. I
Yep.
love you so much.
Yes.
It was a lot of nights of realization with you. The night.
Absolutely.
Word to Kylie Jenner.
That one.
That one. The selenite wand. I hope you are.
We're gonna replace it for you.
We're gonna
this year,
replace
yeah,
it for you because.
for the sure.
But happy birthday.
Happy big birthday to both of them. Little quick shout out to Karima. She's gonna be our astrology queen because she knows a lot and she's made astrology make a lot of sense. So we can't wait for you to add even more value to this podcast. And speaking of astrology and spirituality, today's topic is gonna be about love and light spirituality because we just love it so much. I wish we had like the applause button. But it's
We're
I'll add it
figuring
in
it out
post.
as we go.
we'll get it someday. Obviously we did do a poll on Twitter, which is exactly why we want to continue to utilize our social media tools because we love hearing about what you guys want to hear about. Obviously we don't want to just get up here and talk about ourselves all the time. I mean, as a Cleo. Anyways, sorry, that was like an intrusive thought.
Sorry.
But definitely I wanted to first start off by trying to see like what everybody's idea of love and light spirituality is. So what do you guys think love and light spirituality is?
Okay. So I am still learning about spirituality and really trying to take it seriously, but it's something that you have to really learn. I think it's a little BS sometimes because you can't just get a crystal and magically make all your problems disappear.
Moldavite.
Baby. It's not gonna work.
Call
You
out
gotta
post,
put in the
Moldavite.
work.
Yeah, you definitely gotta put in the work. How about you, Nico? What is love and light
I feel
spirituality?
like it's
to you?
like, let me get some Lululemon,
Stop.
hit up my local gym and do some yoga.
Please,
get a
please
crystal.
stop. Please stop.
You asked my opinion.
It's my opinion. Can you please edit your face like that one line? Yeah, that's I think that's
Spot on, right?
on brand.
I was right.
I feel like love and light spirituality is definitely very much. I get a crystal, it changes my life. Or yeah, I learned how to read cards. Like basically, me and Source are one now. And I have to say that I'm guilty, and I fell victim to that mindset of like I'm the chosen one. Like
Nah,
I am the
I am the not
Heracles.
Meg the
Listen,
Stallion. No, me the
you're not Harry
Jesus.
Potter. You are not the
Yeah, like
chosen
it's
one.
no, it's giving very much surface level. If I had to sum up love and light spirituality into a one word, it would be surface level because that is a hyphenated word. So suck it. But I definitely wanted to talk a little bit more about this, and I'm actually kind of excited that this is the topic that won the poll because it's why I come in and I just talk for a long time. But basically, I actually Googled the definition because I wanted to see what we thought it was to see how close we really would get. But
Were we close?
yeah, love and light spirituality is definitely all of that. It's like you learn what chakras mean and auras mean, and you know your big three, and all of a sudden you think you're Jesus. And that's not it. It's
It's not
not
it,
it at
babes.
all.
Nope.
The reason why I think love and light spirituality is BS, and feel free to like, like be like, nope, I don't agree. But for me, it's very much spiritual bypassing, and I think we discussed it a little bit before starting the film today. But spiritual bypassing, by Google's definition, is a tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep or avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, and unfinished developmental tasks. And that was coined in like the 1980s by this Buddhist teacher. And that's literally it. I feel like when you participate in the love and light spirituality cult, excuse me, it cheapens the process that is spiritual growth and spiritual progress. And what it does really is prolong the inevitable, because at the end of the day, nobody goes into spirituality feeling good about themselves. It's usually a crutch, to be real with you. And I was fully expecting you to go
That's like,
crutches.
you didn't even give me a second. Like my brain
He
didn't
zoned
like.
out.
Fully expected it.
Like my brain had to,
Yeah,
understand the fact that you just said the word crutches.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a crutch. And love and light spirituality is not just like the crystals gambit. Like it's also going to church and thinking that you could pray the pain away, that you could just leave it all at the altar. Like even in that space of Christianity and like what we know to be religion, it still requires work.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it kind of stems from. It is a crutch, and it's definitely more so of like a, let me remove the responsibility off of myself and just like lay it down and put it on this one crystal. Are crystals effective? 1000%. Is meditation effective? 1000%. And affirmations and tarot cards and astrology readings, all of that stuff, they're tools, but you are the tool, like, if that makes sense. You're the conduit of energy, and all of those things are just external ways of manifesting that energy. Speaking of manifesting, another gripe that I have with spirituality that has that, like, in that scale, is y'all be scrolling through TikTok and it's like, if this has reached your For You page, this is for you. And it's like the most broad
Fucking
fucking,
shit.
excuse me,
Like they could
fucking
be an
reading
air
ever.
sign, earth sign, fire sign. It's like, bro, like so
They have brown
anyone.
hair,
It could
brown
be
eyes.
anyone. Thanks. Cool.
Literally,
Got
literally.
it.
And the problem with that is it's just to gain popularity. It's
Yeah.
just to land on the For You page, and this is no shade. I feel like there are legitimate readers on that app. I've even gotten, messages through the app that I've asked Source, like, hey, like, I'm kind of not necessarily like, can you just show me through a TikTok what I need to be learning right now? No, but it's just kind of like, I know that I've asked for a sign before, and then I'm not even gonna.
Lo and behold, the
I'm
sign
not.
came.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna hold you.
And
Like
bright,
sometimes,
shiny lights.
yeah, it's right on time. But most of that space, witch talk and all of that, it's very, very fake. It's not the real stuff. The real stuff is gruesome, isolating, and it doesn't feel good all the time. Another problem with spiritual bypassing, like, I don't know, I know that you said that you're still learning, but have you kind of already reached the point of like, oh well, you know what, like, I'm learning to be spiritual, and I feel let's say it's you and me, and you're like, I feel jealous of Angelica for this example, or whatever example, for this reason. Have you already reached the point of being on the other side of like, oh no, I can't feel jealousy, like that's not a good thing to feel?
I'm very mindful of what I'm feeling,
Okay.
especially the type of energy that I'm putting out because it does come back. It's all about your
Yes.
mind. It's the mindset that I'm when it comes to spirituality, I'm trying to incorporate it in my everyday not life, not only when I'm going through something, um,
Mm.
especially like because that's not realistic at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, it's not.
Um,
But I'm
but
saying more so like, have you already reached the other side of like almost not excusing, but kind of brushing things under the rug? Like, have you gotten past that point, or are you still learning not to be like, oh no, 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 I'm trying to be spiritual. I'm not allowed to feel that.
I'm still learning.
Yeah. Cause I think that was the biggest lesson for me. Like low vibrational is still, it's still a vibe. Like it's still a vibration. Like you should still definitely feel your feelings. We were literally just having this conversation of like being jealous. When you, how do I put this? Like when you remove the obstacle that is feeling really negative feelings, you remove the beauty and the burden of learning. So when you are like, "Oh no, I'm focusing on my spiritual path. Like I'm not allowed to be jealous of Nico." Yes, you are, because you're you know, you're forgetting to ask your soul those questions like, why do you feel inferior to Nico? Why do you feel like what Nico has is better than what you have? And I feel like that is just, you're missing all of the important lessons. Like, and I feel like I know that in other takes of trying to shoot these episodes, I talked a lot about what 23 felt like for me.
Mm.
I started off the year very much into that love and light bullshit. And if you look through my Instagram, like I have like a whole like tarot slash like witchy stuff highlight on my highlights. And you could see the difference between then and now. Like now I feel like that disgruntled old man that's like, get off my lawn. Like I'm very much, I'm tired, grandpa. And like the universe is like,
It's too
that's
damn
too damn
bad.
bad.
Keep
But
digging.
literally keep digging. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I started off this year with like, okay, so I'm gonna write down all my affirmations and I'm gonna meditate 30 minutes at least once a week. And then it turned into, holy shit, like now I'm reworking and reconditioning myself, and wow, I didn't know that I grabbed this from childhood. Um and all of that kind of, and spiritual bypassing kind of removes the responsibility of learning those things, and it's just like, oh well, like that's fine, because at the end of the day I'm a light being. Like yeah, but there's a dichotomy to being a human being,
Yeah.
and that's jealousy, anger, sadness. And I read somewhere, I didn't even read it, there's like an actual scale for these things, but believe what you want. But it was like the idea of like anger still being like at a higher vibrational than being sad. And that was very comforting because I'm still in the process of like removing a lot of anger in my life. And at first I was like, I think I'm too angry to be spiritual. Like how can I sit here and talk to them when I know I'd be screaming at people in traffic like, fuck you and your mom's a hoe. Am I still spiritual? Yes, because I am a human
Mm.
as well.
Yeah.
Like we are a soul and we are a body, and those two things work together. And that's Angelica, that's Soli, that's Nico. The other point I kind of really did want to touch on is like the whole prolonging the progress. Um, how many times did, and this is not me like trying to like call out post you, but you went to church a lot
I
too, right?
did.
Did you
Yeah.
go to church at the best point of your life?
No, I was in rock bottom. And even now that you bring that up, I look back, I started going to church heavily because even before I went to church, just, every Sunday, I was invested in church, and it was a beautiful thing at the time, but I wasn't going for the right reasons. I was going to heal and just to I felt like that was a perfect place to just go and heal because I can cry and someone could be like, "Oh, she's feeling Jesus." No, I'm crying because I'm sad.
I'm in the
um,
trenches right now,
I'm,
bro.
I'm
I'm
fighting
ruined.
demons for real, for real.
Fighting for real.
But um, and there was even a point that I felt like it. I wasn't feeling anything. Like I didn't hear God's voice. I didn't, and I kept going because I kept trying to reach it and
Mhm.
feel what everybody else felt. Um, but it was helpful with what I was going through, and it was a way for me to forgive myself for what I thought was sinning, but it was just me going through life. I
Some
raw dog
demons.
life in
Yeah.
2019 heavily. Um, but now, I mean, I believe in God,
Yeah, me too.
but church. I don't believe in church as much as I did before.
It's literally the blind leading the blind. Sorry, not sorry. I
Because
feel
I
like
couldn't I couldn't I felt like I couldn't even like tell them what I was really going through because then
yeah.
they're gonna be like
Let's pray over you. Let's pray it. Let's
I'm
pray it
like,
away.
no, I need mental help.
Ooh, that's funny that you should say that because I feel like a lot of people feel like mental illness like disqualifies you from being spiritual. No, it doesn't. It literally doesn't. Like most mentally ill people are struggling with spiritual issues, like being disconnected from self, being disconnected from this, like what you could feel, what you can hold, what you can smell, taste, whatever. And that was actually another point that I wrote. I literally wrote it down because I'm like, I need to talk about this because for a really long time, also like depression.
Mhm.
Like depression kept me from showing up for myself spiritually. And then I was like, I'm doing this wrong.
Mm.
There's there's really no real wrong way of doing it. Even if you do start off in the love and light spirituality, like when I meant prolonging the process, I meant that shit. Like eventually that shit's gonna catch up, and then you're gonna really start having lessons being taught to you. There's something that funny that we're shouting out Karima for her birthday, but there's something that she said where she said that the universe holds her accountable in what she says she's working on. So that's why I grabbed that and I was like, you know what? I want that too. I shouldn't have said that because this is the thing. If I'm telling solely, I'm working on my anger and I'm working on being patient. You know how they say don't pray for patience? That shit will be brought to you no matter what. You're gonna have like situations where you're being tested all the time. And I feel like that's what this was. I started off the year and I was like, I'm going to be spiritual. I'm going to do shadow work, which my shadow work was prompts from a TikTok, which is embarrassing in hindsight, but it's not at the same time because it still was work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I feel like also bringing up TikTok, I feel like it's also like people need to be very mindful and take in consideration to not believe everything that you're seeing. And that's a downfall of social media. And also like comparing yourself that someone your spiritual journey is gonna be completely different to the person next to you. Like Angie's spiritual journey is completely different than mine.
It's depressing.
It's I'm still learning. Obviously our relationship we're able to like if I need any answers, she'll help me out
And I don't always have them.
and she'll tell me like I don't know.
You go your own.
But then she
Literally.
You on your own, bro. I mean,
but
I'll be
it's
here
also
beside you, but I don't
important
know.
like I also caught myself being frustrated because I'm like why am I not like
Getting this.
getting this? It's not clicking, but it's not I'm still going through my journey. I'm still it's going to take a little bit longer for me because I also have to put in the work. I know I haven't put in the work necessary for me to learn, but I'm willing to. And it's also just a disclaimer: don't if you
Yeah?
if something on
What's
TikTok
up?
is showing this is for you, it's not.
Probably
Like
not,
it's
yeah.
probably for
Somebody else.
somebody else
Or nobody at all, and just for
them
them to
just
get
trying to
views.
yeah, which is
Yep.
very. I know you want to bring something up about how spirituality nowadays
What? What about it?
is very whitewashed.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
yes.
Ooh.
That Lululemon. Listen.
Listen. Because that was actually a point that Nico brought up in conversation. Like,
Period.
because when we were sitting at the table and we're like, all right, guys, what the fuck are we going to talk about? Yeah, what's all this then? We sat down and I was like, what does love and light mean to y'all? And he's like, it's very whitewashed. And that's true. Because even like Hindu practices, you know, yoga, all of that, Buddhism, all of that has been very whitewashed. Like, and that's not like talking badly on a specific group of people or anything. It's just that, like, learn the origins of stuff, learn the origins of what you're doing. Check out if it's a closed practice. Check out if it's something that maybe because of your lineage and your ancestry, you should not even be opening those doors. Like voodoo, for example. What are you doing? Like I know like the big trend was can't like the cord cutting on TikTok and I did it, but then I researched it and I was like, I
Oops.
probably should have thought about this a little bit more. Luckily, I do have ancestry that would allow for some of it, but it's just still very much like it's still very much I mean, is like, well, I did my ancestry and I have 3% of this, so I'm fine. No, like sage, for example, palo santo, all of these endangered tools that don't belong to us, that belong to the Native Americans. Um, we should be mindful. And thank you for bringing that up because it's true. Research, and also research.
And respect it.
Yes.
Yes. Like I learned a hard lesson with tarot. Like, and that's why I know that again, in other versions of these episodes, I mentioned like, yeah, and I'll be talking tarot, and I was like, actually, no. I do have a mentor that literally was brought to me by God himself or herself or itself, whatever. And I feel like, the thing that brought me to her was her humility. But there is something that I learned this year with messing around with tarot. Do I think that there's a gift there? Yes, I do. Without like sounding like I'm operating from ego, but just in general, like I do feel like I am meant to be a reader, but maybe not in the capacity that I was doing it. I had no real idea about spiritual protection. So I was inviting a lot of stuff in because I was not doing the work, which is research, reading and accepting the fact that you don't know everything is a part of the process. And like you coming into this very humble, like, I don't know much, I'm still learning. Yes, but also don't discount the research that you've already put in. You know what I'm saying? But I do think it's a very good point of like, do I really know enough to be participating in this? Do I really know enough to start? And also me, reading for other people. Thank God that like the things that I went through really just affected me. I mean, you know a little bit more than I'm willing to share, but I just feel like a lot of misinformation is out there. Not everybody's meant to be a reader. Not everybody's meant to be an astrologer. Sometimes some things are just personal. And you made another excellent point by saying, like, your spiritual journey is yours alone. I can't sit here and tell you what's right or wrong, but I can simply, let you know what did not work for me or what mistakes I made in the space of spirituality. And I've made many, and I'm like a couple years into this, and I'm sure that I'm going to continue making mistakes, if that makes sense. But Nico, I'm sorry, we've been like talking the whole
I
time.
mean, you guys are more into it than I am, so.
I mean, do you have like any interest in spirituality? Is that something that you want to get into?
I mean, like, yeah, like I'm here, so like, might as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might as well, dip my toe in it or whatever.
Yeah, just like one toenail,
Just one.
the pinky one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay,
cool.
we
But
can
like,
do
what interests you about the space of like spirituality? Like, what is something that you're like, oh, I want to learn how to do that?
The Lululemon part.
This man.
Men deserve nothing. That's also a part of my spiritual journey. I'm just kidding.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, ooh,
Cisman
not.
specifically.
It's giving self hate.
No, Cisman. I said Cisman.
Oh, okay.
I know
Never
Cisman.
mind.
So
Never
them
mind.
specifically, cis het
Never mind.
white men.
But is there anything in this space that interests you?
Mm, like chill, bro. I don't know. We're
Not her
interrupting
getting
me.
a call.
Like, do not disturb. Um, I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like,
Are you open minded to
Yeah.
the idea of spirituality?
yeah, very much.
Because I know there's some people that is like,
Not
not the
No.
devil's back.
Like, oh my God, the amount of times I've been called a witch.
It's
giving
not.
witchy. It's giving twitches.
It's
It's giving Tia and
Stop.
Tamara.
I'm so excited. Tia Tamara. Yes. Well, Tia
Huh?
is Tia, Tamara, and who else?
What?
Is it Tia and Tamara?
Yes.
I'm so embarrassed. Nobody's talking about it.
Did you think Tia
God.
Tamara was?
One name? So, anyways, guys, about spirituality, I'm
She
so
said-
embarrassed. Wait, so
It's
it's
because
like,
you're thinking of Mary Kate, and then
oh
Ashley,
yeah,
that's why.
yeah.
So you're like,
the way you understand me,
you're thinking
the
of
way I
other,
didn't.
other
the way
famous
that
things.
my bestie doesn't. Yeah, it kind of hurts my feelings,
Well,
but
we
it's
got a couple
cool.
more years on, so,
Ooh, it's a competition vibes.
and I'm winning.
Also, like another thing too, you know what's a real mental illness? Believing in twin flames. All that shit is crazy. It is crazy. Twin flames. Twin flames is not the man that you've gone back to like 8 times, that has cheated on you 3 times, has 2 baby moms and 5 kids. That's not your twin flame, babe.
It's not.
Back away. You're in
Back it up.
separation? No, babes, you're not in separation. You're in termination. As in, fucking leave that man forever. Toxic dick is not toxic. It's not
It's not
toxic.
toxic.
That was a Freudian slip.
It's not toxic. It's actually really good.
No, but it's the truth. Like,
And also don't play. It goes back to that. Like, I'm gonna see this car, and the wind is gonna go to the west,
not the West.
Meaning he loves
But,
me.
uh,
It's a sign.
it's a sign.
Not everything's a sign, okay?
Yeah, oh my
Not
God, please.
everything's a sign.
Please. I got obsessed with signs, and it drew me to very dark and paranoid places. I also just wanted, before I bring up my next point, because I could already feel the angry Christians in our comments and possibly mine. You stupid, stupid witch. Just take a long clearing breath. Shut the fuck up. It didn't even sing. Listen, I want to bring back a point that you said, because this has hurt my feelings so many times, and I guess like the more confident I get in myself, the less it's going to piss me off. But the whole idea of like, oh my God, not the devil's whack. First of all, I went to a Christian school from the ripe age of 11 until the ripe age of 17. Yes, my middle school and my high school, my most formative years were spent in a Christian school that has a Baptist background. If you know anything about Southern Baptism, they hate women. They hate women. Like, for example, we wore skirts, but we were told to be modest and not to uncross our legs because our teachers could possibly see our underwear. But it's like, babes, we could have just worn pants.
Or teachers cannot be fucking weirdos.
Yeah. Let's
Yes.
talk about the teachers.
Like, we had a whole
Right.
assembly about modesty and about how some teachers have peeped a couple things. Well, peep something else.
Exactly. Peep bars. Go to jail.
Period.
Peep
Peep,
the jail
peep this
cell.
life sentence. Like, honestly, I'm
Oh,
just kidding. But I'm not gonna touch on that too much. But there's something that really does irk me, and something that irks me. A lot of things irk me, but this one irks me pretty high up on the scale. Is the idea that crystals, manifestation is prayer. So let's start there. Manifestation is prayer with stronger intention. Prayer is manifestation. It's the same shit. um I hate the idea that all of the spiritual practices, not all practices are good, because again, there is that dichotomy, but that spiritual practices are from the devil. Let's start off by just saying that a lot of the Bible is literally the biggest book of magic, okay? We're talking rituals, we're talking parting the Red Sea, a burning bush, talking to Moses. We're talking about all of these beautiful and amazing biblical stories that involve magic. God is magic. All right. So let's just get that out of the way. Another thing I would like to point out is, rituals, right? Like I've spoken a lot about like full moon rituals and all this other stuff. What is communion? A ritual. Eating the body of Christ and drinking the blood of Christ and having this beautiful prayer to end off. I'm not criticizing the practice at all. By all means, I get it. I mean, hello. I do my own sort of rituals where I have to have physical, tangible things like that to kind of bring the point together. But this idea of one thing is better than the other, I'm not liking it, because Jesus himself, I can't right now. So I'm sorry to all of my heritage staff that is probably not even watching this, but if you are, I can't remember the Bible verse specifically, but there's a Bible verse in the New Testament where Jesus talks about being the stumbling block for your brother. Meaning, like, let's say you don't eat pork, right? Let's say you're Muslim, right? You don't eat pork, and I sit down and I have baby back ribs. Wait, baby back ribs are beef or pork? Just pretend I was
Not
right.
asking the black person. Like, what is it? Like, that was
Why
racially
would you say
motivated.
that?
That was
That was a hate crime.
That was a hate crime.
No.
Starting out early.
I just
Wow.
couldn't think
you
of
can
it.
have ribs.
pretty
There's
Ribs-
pork ribs.
Okay. So let's say I'm eating a rack of ribs right in front of you, right? And you're doing your best. Or let's go a little bit better than that.
Literally
Let's say
said
me,
pork.
I don't drink, right?
Mhm.
And then you invite me to a bar. And you're like, but why don't you drink? But why don't you drink? But why don't you drink? The whole idea behind that is don't push it. Let love and let your practice speak for itself, right? Stop doing that and stop listening to that if you're on the other end of that. You know what your practice is. If your intentions are within the light, and I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive considering we're literally talking about love and light. No, but I mean, like, if your intentions are for the growth and the progress of mankind and the collective, odds are, man, you're probably okay. You're probably not worshiping the devil. And I would just like to say Lucifer had a couple of points.
Oh, you want to say it canceled? Cancel.
Right.
You're like, I mean, I don't know. The
Listen,
points was hitting.
I don't really like subscribe to everything he was doing, but I feel like he had a couple of points. Cause it's like, I'm made in your image, but I'm not better than you. I'm not even equal than you, but I'm made in your image. How does that work?
Boom. How does that work?
Literally. And I know, all jokes aside though, that's pretty much all that I have to say about love and light. I could go on for hours, but I don't think that would be productive. And I'm not here coming from a place of judgment, but from a place of experience. Again, if you literally go through my Instagram, Angie Sophia with two A's underscore, request to follow me because I have stalkers, so I gotta go private. But request me,
Stalkers.
go through my little tarot tip of freaking highlights. Girl, that shit dropped off like in October of 2019 because I was like, oh, this shit is real, real. This shit is scary.
Said I
A
fight demons.
witness.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? It's just like all about the vibes, vibes.
No,
You
bags.
just
It's
gotta
not.
sit there and just manifest,
Not the vibes.
Not those
manifest the
vibes.
depression away. No, work. Sit down. Write about all the things that you hate about yourself. Write about all the things that you do that are disgusting and terrible that you don't want anybody to look at. I had a conversation with somebody about, you know how we all have that one thing, right? That we're like, oh my God, I'm going to tuck this away in the closets of
That's
closets.
not good.
My gay, for example. I'm just kidding. But in response to the, you know, the idea of like, we're going to put this away and we're not going to talk about it. That is the first thing you should be working on.
Mhm. And I also want to. This is my opinion. I had said that I feel like spirituality and like the tools and all the work that you put in, I feel like it's a form of therapy. There, if you look at, because I've gone through a lot of therapy, babes. I know the ins and out of it. And when I started my spiritual journey, it hit me. I was like, this is like therapy.
Yeah,
This is
it's
very
giving.
much helping
Okay.
my mental.
Yes.
And then the more you do it, the more you heal. Because like you said, you can't just tuck things away because that's not healthy at all.
It's gonna come up.
And it will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely believe that it's a form of, therapy, self-soothing. And it's the healthiest way that I've helped with my mental health. Um, and it's been what's been working for me. It might not work for you.
It might make it worse.
It might make it worse because maybe you need that, professional help, which we all do. I got to a point that I'm just like, I have to do it for myself. I can't just talk about it without doing anything. So,
And that's a hard point. It's a very humbling point. Cause like I feel like I got attacked with the most negative thoughts when I started to publicize my journey. Cause the universe was like, "Oh, you said you're what? You said oh, you want to be the chosen one? Oh, no problem.
you will.
I'll choose you." And then
I choose you.
literally it Pokemoned me, and I was like, "Holy shit! Just kidding. Put it back in the box. I don't want it anymore." And I had several mental breakdowns. The paranoia, like just the paranoia that I felt I say last year because I'm talking about my age, but the 23 23 was so humbling. I have never been humbled like that in my freaking life. It was very much like, I thought you said you knew everything. I thought you said you wanted to know everything. Like, and that's another thing too. Don't rush it. If you don't get something, like you said, why am I not getting it? Maybe it's not for you to get right now. You're not gonna come into this and you're astral projecting. Like, I'm sorry,
You're
babe, but if you're
ascending.
astral projecting, you're imagining it. Like, not really. I can't really tell you what your truth is, but you're not gonna come into this and you're gonna be the master of meditation. Meditation is probably gonna take you 5-6 times to actually sit down and shut the fuck up in the brain.
It's taken people years
Yes.
to master it.
Yes, and even
Yeah.
that is a goalless practice. There is no goal to meditation except doing it.
It's for yourself.
It's for your, and it looks different for everybody. Maybe my goal to meditation is to be able to speak to my guides at some point. And I know there's some people that are watching this that are not as open minded, and they're like, it's
What
giving
is she-
schizophrenia. It's giving you're talking to yourself, But I mean, if people in the church, in the Pentecostal churches, can speak in tongues, why can't I speak to spirit guides? You're speaking to demons. That is your opinion.
Exactly.
And maybe I like them. I'm just kidding.
Maybe they're my besties.
Maybe we go way back. I definitely hit the pop filter really hard on that one. But no, I feel like, yeah, like you just made me think a lot because now I'm going back to like, and I still feel like a baby, by the way. Like sometimes I'd be reading some Twitter threads and I'm like,
What did you
the
just say?
fuck are they on about? What do you mean? And even with astrology, for example, I always tell, I'm about to stand up really quick because I'm going to show y'all Let me see if I fucking break shit.
Don't break shit.
Is that the book?
This is one book. This, for the people listening,
It's a book.
that is one book. That is one book of astrology. Astrology just in itself, and that's one medium of spirituality, okay? One book. And this doesn't even get into like well, it kind of does, but it doesn't really like in summation, it gets into aspects, orbs, sextiles, all that shit. But this shit is a lifelong process. And there's new information coming out all the time. Not new, but like new discoveries and people, because it's an intuitive practice. So maybe like if you were an amazing astrologer and I'm also an amazing astrologer, but we sit down exactly and we sit down and we read the same chart, we might pick up on different things. There's times where me and Karima have like read somebody's chart together and she picks up on these amazing abstract ideas and I'm like, how did you get there? Because maybe I'm thinking too textbook or tarot. Sometimes I will do a spread for myself, and for the people that do kind of know astrology a little bit more, I'm a 12th house sun, so I am my own blind spot. I can't read for myself all the time. Sometimes I will read for myself. I'll send Karima a voice memo of what I interpreted, and then she'll send me something completely different and I'm like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is important to get other perspectives than just the book.
Because everybody interprets it differently.
And I didn't learn astrology through a book. I bought this book and it helped with certain things. It helped with making certain little things make sense. But most of my practice and most of my growth in my education has been through relation, like doing your chart or doing Nico's chart. And how did it feel to have your chart read for the first time?
You read the fuck out of me. It was like 5 a.m. too. She was like, "No, I'm gonna do it right now." I'm like,
I was
"Okay."
half asleep. I had cried for like 3 of those hours. And I was like, you know what, Nico? I keep forgetting to do your chart. And before we start this podcast, it's just important to me that I have like a snapshot. And, you know, even then, I did this session with you for the chart and then I revisited it again. And then I saw other things.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot to learn. Don't rush the process. You're not going to know everything. And also, I do recommend that you pick one practice to really dive into. So if astrology is your thing, learn that first. I tried to learn tarot, astrology, palm reading. I tried to learn all of these ancestry, like ancestral work, dream work, all of these things I tried to do at once. My mentor during an energy read, she's like, I can see you running. Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Yeah, and it was literally like me just being very like a child. That's that Aries moon. Like a child. I was like, why can't I have it right now? But why can't I know everything right now? It's not for you. You will go nuts. You will go nuts trying to learn everything in one day. So that's that on that. That is my story and I'm sticking to it.
It's my man, and I'm gonna stick beside him.
But I'm the man in this situation. Like I'm sticking beside
It's
myself.
giving very masculine energy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But
Okay.
that was Love and Light, Spirituality is BS. And I hope that you guys learned something. And I hope that I didn't talk too much, did I?
I mean, you know the most, so I would.
I
Hope
don't
that,
say it like
out
that.
Out of the
Out
two
of
of
the
us,
two of us,
you know the most. So
Thank you.
We do not need to be the ones.
and I
to
feel
Thank
like
you, but
that
I
goes
don't.
to show like spirituality is all about like Angie has a mentor. I don't have a mentor, but it's learning from other people,
Yes.
and
It's a collective.
it's just lessons, lots of lessons.
Lots of
There
realizations.
are lots of
Where
realizations.
to Kylie Jenner,
lots of
bro. Like
realizations.
she was making points when she said this year was about
That's the
making
year
a lot of
23.
realiza-
Mhm.
Oh, shit.
On that
It is.
note,
It is.
I want to thank
Good
you
luck.
guys for tuning in or watching, listening,
You can tune in on
Listening, watching,
things,
looking,
doing,
seeing
hearing.
us.
But no, for real. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We love you.
I wouldn't go that far. I feel like I'm
I
in
don't even,
I'm-
I don't even know you like
yeah,
that.
it's
yet.
like it's the first date. This is like the second date. We're getting to know each other.
You forgot who I am. I love on the second.
She said, "You
don't-
trying to move in?"
I was gonna say,
You wanna
lesbian
move in?
relationships be like 7 days later. We're getting married. We're getting married. We've already trekked the whole country together.
Like, let's get a dog.
Let's get it multiple
honestly.
dogs.
And then they break up and then they amicably split
They got
custody.
custody battles over the fucking poodle.
The
The Pomeranian.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pomeranian. Well, that's that.
That's that on that.
Happy birthday to our Libras, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.